Okay, so Megan has collected this data of the number of customers that has come into her bakery over 30 days. And what we want to do is put that into a table that is a little bit clearer to understand, and we can see the data in a much easier way and draw some conclusions from it. So the first thing that we need to do is look at what is our smallest data point and what is our largest data point. Well, in this case, the smallest is the number 6 and the largest is the number 21. So we know we have to fit in our table data between the ranges of 6 and 21. And the difference between 6 and 21 is 15. So there's two sort of nice sized groupings that you could use. You could either use 3, because 3 goes into 15 5 times, or you could use 5 and that goes into 15 3 times. So say if we use the grouping of 3 numbers per interval. So we would start with the number 6 because you start with a multiplier of the numbers in the groups that you're using. So I'm using 3 numbers in this group, so a multiplier of 3 is 6. Then count 3 numbers along, so including the 6. So 6, 7, 8. So the end of my group would be 8. My next group would start with the number 9. So again, you can see that's a multiple of 3. Count 3 on, so 9, 10, 11. That's the end of my group. So my next group would start at 12, and I count 3 along. The next group would start at 15, and again it's a multiple of 3, 18, and then because I need to include the 21, I need to include another group. So you've got 6 groups rather than the 5 that you would probably be expecting, because this 21 isn't included in this last group here. So you need to include another group there. Now, say if I had used a grouping of 5 numbers instead of 3, I would start with the 5 because that's a multiple of 5. Then I would count 5 along, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would be the end of my group. I would start my next one with the 10, multiple of 5, count 5 along, so that's 14, 15, and then 20. So you can see these are all multiples of 5, and I've got 5 numbers in each group. Okay, and I'm using that one to include my last number of 21. Now I think using this grouping is better than using this one. It gives the data a bit more spread. You're not using too many different rows, whereas that is going to group the data quite close together. Okay, so I've decided what I want my interval grouping to be, and this is called on my table the class interval. Okay, so that's the first sort of column on my table. If I start to construct my table, so the next column I want is a tally column, because I want to count all my pieces of data up. And then the next column is the frequency. I want to know the total number of numbers that are in these groups. Okay, so the best way to do this so you don't miss a number is to work through your data points and tally them up. So we start with 13, so that would go in this one. 8, 16, 12, another 12, 16, 7, 18, 11, 16. So all I'm doing is crossing them off and putting them into the correct group that they belong to. Okay, and just cross them off, then you don't miss one. Now remember on our tally chart when we had 4 bars already and we had a 5th one, we then put the line through it. So 21. Again with this one there's 4 lines there already, so we put one through it. And just keep going and crossing them all off. until you fill up the table. There's another line. And another one. Okay, and then that's the last number. So now that we've done an accurate tally, we can add these all up. Because remember, your 4 bars and your gate adds up to 5. We've got 4 here. We've got 10 here. 6. Another 4 and a 1. Okay, and all this should add up to the number of data points that you've got here. So not these added together, but the number of data points, the number of days that she did the survey over. Okay, so remember, we need to think about, how am I going to group my data? What is a reasonable, useful sizing to make my groups? And to work this out, I find the minimum and the maximum data point. So I decide how I'm going to do my grouping. I start my grouping with a multiple of whatever grouping size I decide. So if it's 3, I start it with a multiple of 3. If it's 4, start it with a multiple of 4. So it doesn't have to start on the first point in your data. It can start with the nearest multiple. And I then cross off the data point and create a tally. And then I add them all together, all the tallies together, to get the frequency.